And first thing on our agenda is a continuation of site plan review. Proposal to construct a commercial office building at 580 Laconia Road in the mixed-use district. And I know we continued this because of drainage and some other issues. John, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. My name is John Bernard. I'm trying to take care of all the requests that were asked of me last time. The first thing I think we should go over is you wanted to see how the two sites laid out. So we'll start there. This is the site that's already been approved and it's constructed. This is the site we're proposing. I don't know if there's any questions regarding that. I'll sit down and take one step at a time.
Did everybody have an opportunity to go out and view the property?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions?
Is that yellow minimum of 20 feet all the way around?
Correct. Some of it's 25 in the front, actually. It's more in the front than which is allowed. But
You kind of narrow a little bit as you come down to the driveway where the wetlands are.
yeah, it's impossible to go across without narrowing. It's like any bridge. Any bridge crosses a wetland, and it has to narrow there.
Not in Arizona.
Arizona, we have no bridges? What? Come on.
Like Jack Canyons.
No, I've thought about that issue before, but that's absolutely correct. When you never get near a culvert crossing, you have to narrow it down there. Otherwise, it would be impossible. You never have a road that have a 20-foot setback.
No comments or questions?
Okay, we move forward from there then. The next one is, this is who I contracted to do the lighting. Lighting has changed tremendously. I don't know if anybody has been by the new Goodwill store or stopped in there yet. The lights that light up that parking lot are about a ½ inch thick by about a foot.
There you are now.
Really unbelievable. So he came in and he, first he looked at Winnisquam Auto where I met him, or was to meet him, and he says, oh, those lights all have to be changed. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I'm not even talking about that project, I'm talking about the other one. But I guess the efficiencies are LED lights now, that it saves you so much within 3 years. You get your money back and then it starts to make you money. So he did a letter for me, and it's Luminous Less is the name of the company. I'll submit it. And he had it set up where I have an additional 2 lights he wanted. Well, let's go to the next plan. He had it set up so we have an additional light here than what we had. And another one here. Actually, additional here and here. The other ones we already had. He said it's more than adequate for what we're trying to do for the size of the parking lot. So
Show me on the one.
You don't want to do the one.
we have one here, one here, one off the building, here and here.
Let them sit there while we slide
Come
out
here.
here.
You want to pass, Eric, you want to pass that around?
This is the contract with.
I don't
No,
see
I'll
one
be-
to the left of this.
You're probably working off the old plan. This is the new one that they corrected.
I think
It
we
is,
only
but the
have,
lights
I
add
think we only
lights.
have the old plan.
Right. Oh, the only thing I did different was add lights and add sidewalk.
But
Yeah.
anyone who needs a new plan, we have copies right here.
So I've got 1, 2, one on the building.
Yep. One on the building. And
Show me
then
in
there's
the
1,
front.
2, 3, 4. This one's really to light up the driveway entrance more than the parking lot.
Going on here.
So we call it.
So you've got 5 lights?
I do.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights.
Yep. Then we get into the whole drainage thing that we had that submitted. You've had that. Everybody got a copy of that. It shows that we're more than taking care of it. We're actually overbuilding it a little bit, which is fine.
Why do you say you're overbuilding?
It's a little bit bigger than what we really need to do for what they call between the 25 to 50 year storm. He says what happens when they put it in and how they do it, they don't take into account how it's built. Is basically, we talked about this before, it's a giant bag, and when he's doing it, they don't do the calculations with the excess on the outside of it, but there's always excess rock on the outside of it when you put it together. So he said it's actually bigger than what it would be required. If you talk to Barry, maybe you can help me out here.
Yeah, sure. So I did speak with him. I know that basically you've got an area of about 13,350 square feet, I think is what it says on the latest plan. The proposal is to collect all stormwater from that area and through 2 entry points, introduce it to this underground chamber system where the plan is 100% of stormwater will be infiltrated. So if you do look at that, the chamber system holds about it's almost exact 750 cubic feet of water, which if you take 13,350 square feet of pavement, you can get the first two-thirds of an inch that system's going to completely contain. So at that point, you're counting on infiltration to handle the rest of the stormwater. What we don't have from the engineer is any percolation data. So what's sort of the missing piece to answering the question of whether everything can be infiltrated, I guess, is the infiltration rate of the soil. It does seem that rate would have to be extremely high in order for 100% of stormwater to be infiltrated. But John has said it is extremely high. So I think that's kind of where that's the point I reached in analyzing the system. I guess, if there is any missing information about the capacity of the soil to handle all that water.
No, I got actual pictures.
It would, when you look at what 2/3 of an inch translates into, the area of the chamber system is only 500 square feet. So 2/3 of an inch across 13,350 square feet, when you condense that to a 500 square foot area, that's approximately 17 inches of rain right there. 2 inches of rain, which is about what you'd receive within the hour of greatest precipitation during a 50 or 24-hour storm. You get about 2 inches in the worst hour. That would translate into about 53 inches in that small area. So again, the notion of it being able to infiltrate 100% of the water is extremely dependent on the capacity of the soil to percolate all that water. So that's. But again, I believe in conversations with John, he indicated that he does have some information, perhaps that you could share tonight about the percolation.
So when it comes to the soils, when you start to do these systems, you don't want it to be too fast, because then you have another issue. So too fast would be complete sand, which if it goes through too fast, it creates another issue. But on this particular soil, the gentleman was out there, that was at the site, and we have dug in the site. Actually, we had just dug in the site today, putting up the other retaining wall. It is what they call a Gloucester soil, gravel, well-drained soil. So we used that, what it is, and had done it. We did perk rates on it way back when I first bought the property, and it was gravel, well-drained soil. I had tried to locate that, and I haven't, but that is what it is, it's gravel, well-drained soil. And if anybody walked out there, you could see that it was dry and well-drained. Getting like crazy last night.
The sun was shining.
They were we were parking on it and driving on it. It really,
It was a gravelly soil.
And I was out there after
How
a
deep is
rainstorm too.
How deep is that gravelly soil?
We dug down even today, some roads, they saw them digging, putting up the wall. They were 6 feet below where this system, the bottom of the system was, and it was still gravel.
There you go.
So that whole hillside.
Where are you proposing that system to
The
be?
system is designated to be right here.
Since '85, we're beautifying the backyard.
Okay, so
This one.
What's with all the stone that's there now in the entryway? Looks like something's buried in it.
Yeah. No one did.
Bones?
No one yet. So we were, goes back to us building, I'm gonna go back to this. When we were putting in this thing, everybody was asking for stairs. We finally figured out a way how to do it. So we're using that gravel to go underneath the stairs to support the stairs. So that's what we're using that thing for. We're putting one
Oh, I
of
meant
the,
the stone on that side.
this over here, okay, that's another story. Here we go. When we first did the cafe, they were gonna recycle everything, they didn't need any kind of bins or anything like that, you know, do trash pickup. Well, about a week after they had received their first produce, they had a lot more boxes, and they wanted to recycle, and they wanted to gather and wanted to recycle. So I said that they could put them over here until we've completed this site in here, and then they're gonna have to stick one of these parking spaces or along here to take up that space there. So I had to put rock in there, because when you bring a truck in there during mud season, they come out, you don't want the rock, the mud to go out onto the road. That's
You don't want it on Route 3. You get your
right,
hands
no,
slapped.
yeah,
Okay, so that system's going in there.
correct.
How much of that area is actually drainage? All of it? Or is it like
No.
a trench drain?
It's like a trench run. Like you-
So how much, where is the trench drain?
It's gonna be within this box.
Well,
It really is going to do, when they designed it, now when I first was doing this, I didn't have the complete design, and then as time went on, they redefined the design. And it's one long chamber that goes from here to here, it's 85 feet long, I believe, and it is 5 feet wide. 85 by 5. Yeah. And that box was bigger, but I knew it would fit inside that box, it's actually gonna be much smaller, but that's the designated area I used.
Ledge pad on top of it.
And you have that engineering, right? You have it.
The diagram?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
so you're not gonna capture all the water on that driveway?
No, it's impossible to, and even on this site, and every site that I've ever seen, the water from here will be shedded off into here, and will go down to this drainage and go down. You can't capture it all. That's another thing that's,
It's not gonna go into that drainage, it's gonna come right down your driveway.
well, is what it's doing right now. Kind of, it goes down the driveway and goes right into here. It doesn't go on the road.
It's hitting the stone right now.
Yeah, the state won't allow us to do that. We
No.
have to, I have to, I mean, I
And you
don't.
can't drain into their swale, their
No.
drainage ditch.
Right. But a lot of the water that will come down here, we will tip it this way and try to capture it and let it run down through the grass. As you saw, that grassy area there will run down the hill a little
It'll
bit.
go into the brook.
Yep, it will. Eventually, it all will.
We don't want stormwater going directly into a brook.
No, you don't, but the highway does it. The whole highway. This whole highway drains down into that brook. And I agree, we don't want that to happen, but, you know, there's a certain amount that we can't mitigate in any kind of development. I don't think there's any entrance that you can show me in Route 3 where there isn't some water that goes into the drainage ditch there. And I've
Put a
done.
trench drain all the way across your driveway, Andrew.
A what?
Come on. Drainage swale. You just said there wasn't. So,
Well,
um,
in the map is,
Yeah.
is that it?
we have a 50-year storm event. I mean, we had what, 2 50s and a 100, or was it 200s and a 50 a few years back?
Was that what?
It was 2 50s
Two
and a
fifties and
100.
a hundred.
So, we saw things fail that engineers could design, like Lowe's retention ponds.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, I saw that mess.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
I think
That was
a few
incredible.
times, wasn't it? Hasn't that failed a bunch of times?
Twice.
Yeah, I remember that.
And both of the times it sent flumes of dirt into Saki. So, curving all the way around that parking lot,
On the uphill side?
downhill side. Well,
Sure.
you'll have to extend it partway up the side. I don't know, partway up the sides. You have, right now it's level. Is it level to the yellow? And then it curves up into the back?
Let me make sure that we're all talking the same spot. So, you're asking, is this level from here to here?
What you've leveled, is it all the white area?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so that yellow pitches up,
Right.
Correct.
like little pillars.
Right. that was done intentionally
Yeah.
to prevent anything from not being treated to keep it in this area.
And the land behind it pitches up further.
Correct. And this goes up even more. Yep. You know, I can say this too, in looking at the plan, you guys are gonna probably get another shot at me, because every time I do something like this, I've done this for several reasons. Usually I'll go in and I'll build a building, and then I'll come in and say, okay, this is what the use is, and we'll go in front of it. On this particular building where Awakening Chiropractor is, I first came in and I got approved for sales. And I was,
We know the history.
I'm
so,
surprised you brought that up.
I wanna bring that
That's
history.
why I was gonna say, I'm not sure you want to bring it
I
up.
really do, because the reason why I'm here is that a lot of people question, what's he doing, what's he building, and the town doesn't have any answers. Now, I'm saying I'm gonna do office here. I was approached recently that a medical facility needs a building of that size, with bigger in there. But I don't know what's gonna go in there, so if it's anything different than an office, if it's a medical building, if it's a chiropractic place, because the chiropractic place didn't, according to the town, if I remember, didn't equate to office. It became something different. So I'm sure you're gonna get another chance at me here when I find out exactly what's gonna go in there. But that's just really how it works, and so,
Well, that would be after the fact, though. We don't want you to have to asphalt the parking lot and find out if it's gonna work.
I think,
The problem with this is normally we have, the existing terrain conditions, and then we have afterwards, when you're done. We don't have that benefit here.
I'm not sure I follow it.
Well, we knew what the existing conditions were, and then now you kind of leveled it, but it's not level. And I'm concerned about where that sheet water's gonna go, and it's basically gonna come down your driveway, some of it's gonna hit your drain.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But why couldn't you turn your drain?
I can do that for you, if that's what you
You
think.
see what I'm saying?
I do, I hear what you're
If you could
saying.
turn that drain, why?
Why, you want me to
couldn't
run it
pull
this
that-
way?
No, why couldn't you pull it to the left?
This one? Which one would you like to do?
Yeah, there.
I think
Stand.
Oh,
Jack.
geez.
So why couldn't you take this and turn it so it's from here to here more?
Because
Or bring it down this
That's under the
way?
ground though.
right, everything's under the ground. I can put these, this is what we're really talking about, these catch basins. They can go anywhere they want and get drained into this system. This is a good drainage level
So
area.
this is the containment area, that's
Correct.
what I
Oh.
asked you.
I didn't understand.
I haven't
Everybody,
got a chance to look
understood
at
that.
this.
you didn't understand that?
I
I'm sorry.
did.
So
I
I was looking
understand.
at it
Oh.
as a trench drain.
I didn't know what, I didn't know. I was so confused when you were saying that. I tried to
didn't
figure it
know.
out.
This is a new
Okay.
system to me.
Well,
You-
All right,
you
so
made
you've
it
got-
clear.
right,
This
this
all
is,
you've
this
got.
is
Where
just,
is this going?
this is all gonna be, this is all gonna go to
What
here.
is this?
Oh, that's, I'm taking the drainage of the water off the roof and running it down through the system, because that's part of the square footage that's going to be.
I'm sorry, I should just go
So, let me try to.
Okay, so
let
now
me-
now it's even worse than I thought. You got two little catch basins
But everything, all
that you
the.
think is gonna catch all that runoff, and obviously
Correct, it
by your
will.
finished grade, but we have no idea what your finished grade is.
Yes, we have it on here. We have finished grades on here.
I don't see any arrows pitching all that water to those drains and contours.
They do, and that is totally our
Five
intent.
hundred and 21 and a 522.
Right, so that is the finished grade that we're gonna end up at.
So
And
you
you can,
think flat's gonna pitch
no,
water to those drains?
522 is on the high side, 520 is on the lower side, and 518 is down at the lowest. This catch basin will be at 518, and what we'll do is the parking lot will go like this and drain all the water, and it'll absolutely catch it. This does the same thing as,
So those grades aren't in,
no, they are.
those pitched grades.
No, the arrows aren't there, but it will have to be pitched there, or none of it would work. Right, so it has to be done like that, and that really gets done with your final grading when you're going in to pave it, and we
See,
put,
that's what we normally have.
right, normally,
We
but
don't have that.
right, but on the other one that I've done, over here, I did this one, and it worked out great, all the water.
Much smaller area.
Yeah, this is a smaller area. This is 4,500 square feet, and this is almost 3 times that area. But I have a much bigger system, and I have 2 of these. I can do 3 of those if you think that will help to catch it all. I think that we're going to catch quite a bit into here. I think we're going to catch into here. Now, we do use a little, we can do an as-built when we get in, just get out there and we start pitching things around. And what happens on a lot of these construction sites, you can do the best engineering you want, but you get out in the field, and then you end up doing what they call an as-built, and you come back in and you resubmit that, because that's really the more idea. And that's actually what happened here. We had this one up in here tight, and we actually captured more water. I think it got moved down to here. But we did everything we absolutely could possibly do to catch all that water in that one. And we do the same thing with this one. These are the elevations, but you know, everything has to be tipped. And that's really done, believe it or not, that's done just before we pave on the final grade.
But I think that's what Catherine's
She
saying.
wants the hours there, but we'll show that.
That is
I wanna see
usually
your final
the
grade.
final grade is usually what we see when you come in for a site
I
plan.
understand. I understand.
When
You know
all
even
your
what you put
runoff
there.
starts going down onto Route 3, the state doesn't come back and say, well, they didn't say you.
I don't think I'm going to invest that kind of money and do it, and I know that you've seen me do it before, and I've never dumped any water on Route 3. And you've also known me in my history here is that I'm very responsible if there's a problem. There's not going to be a problem here. We're going to do it correctly. I've always engineered these correctly to the best of my ability. And this is a good site. It's well-drained soils. It's a good use of the property. You've all been up there. You've seen it. And again,
Is there a way to make it more of a bowl and it drains into the center? And that's where you have your catch basins? Or, you know, pitch everything towards the center and have your catch basin and just...
that's basically what's going to happen here. That's
Well, you
basically
have
what's
your-
going to happen here, and it's going to happen here. We're going to catch as much as we can off of this building and down through here and drain it into this place. And this probably could get moved a little bit. This is an approximation. When we get out there, we start grading it, and we get the building in there, we'll find a better place. But when you want to have one of these near your building, because you don't want water or puddling happening near the building, and then this one down here, when we grade this, this will have a little bit of an uphill grade so it doesn't spill out into there. It's not going to be continuous down. You build it a little bit of grade, and that's what we did. That's what we did at the Wildlife Cafe. That's, if you look at it, it has a little bit of a hump there, so the water can't run down the entrance. I mean, I want to do a nice development. I'm not trying to.
So if the elevation's not gonna be at 518, or is it 512? Okay. At your mouth of your driveway.
Well, if it is, you
Right by
know,
the
culvert.
if it is, you might be 6 inches lower to where your culvert is, so you catch it. You can't let that water just
No,
go down
you said just above the culvert you were going to pitch it up.
this way, in this direction here. On this direction here, you'll pitch it up so if you don't have that runoff going down, you want it to be all, everything's going to be going towards that, and this one.
Okay. I have to think about this one.
Okay.
Where are you going to put snow? I really didn't see anywhere
Well,
where you have that wetlands.
yeah, I don't like to put them towards the wetland.
You can't put it
Right.
towards the wetlands. You can't put it in the front where it's gonna, because that's gonna drain into the state's drainage.
Right, I think the best place for me to do is try to push it up onto this slope in here. That's what I think is the best place for it.
I understood you to say when you were here before, if necessary, you would
I'd be
tuck
happy
it
to.
away.
Absolutely, be happy to do it. You know, this last year, there was no initial for snow. The year before, we had issues with snow. And the best laid plans of men and mice would go astray on a winter like we had. What was that, 113 inches of snow that we had? You know, I mean, and again, I think we can make this work. I don't think you've ever had a problem with me when you were contacted for me to remove snow out of Winnisquam. I took care of it that day. I have a letter from the Conservation Commission thanking me for that.
They're nicer than we are.
So do we want to make do some conditions?
I saw questions, we might start making them once I got your numbers. So the parking spaces are,
9 by 18.
okay, those dimensions are on there. Guess I needed to read something.
No, they just stated.
The hard
best of my ability, there was, yeah, 11, 18 inches long and 18 feet long and 9 inches.
Feet?
Feet?
9
9,
inches?
well, they actually,
What do you
9
mean by
tenths,
bike
if I do it,
here?
if I really was speaking, I'm thinking in terms, it's 9/10 of an inch, which is 18 feet on that plan. And, yeah, and just under half inch. Yeah, that's how it lays out. And the other thing that I did that you guys asked me to do, is you want me to label a handicap parking space a double, which I did over here. So that was added on too.
And where's the sidewalk?
I put that in here too. You asked for a sidewalk, keep looking at this plan, go back to this one. Well, what's on? Technical problems, yeah? No, Right? Still work like that? Everything is really. So we put the sidewalk that we had in here, and just, designate an area.
Are you concealing it?
I'm trying.
Would you feel more comfortable, Catherine, if you put a third box in?
I'd be happy to do that if she thinks I can catch more water that way.
Wait, a third
Not a
point.
lot, but a
Yeah,
third
is
point
there a
of
third
entrance.
catch basin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be more happy if the contours and grading was on that plan.
So if you could resubmit a plan with the
Um,
reading the contours?
I can do that.
Here's the sidewalk, is that little teeny,
I mean, it's like,
not even in front of the front door.
no, but it gives people at least, cars to be parked there.
Jump out of the way?
Huh?
I mean, they can jump out of the way, then they gotta walk into the parking lot to go in the door?
Well, I look at this as in keeping with the other pieces of property that we've developed over there. They don't,
This is a different site, different configuration.
right, but in keeping with those, if people get out of their car, they walk across the parking lot and they get into the area and they go in the building. So that's, how I envisioned it.
Like at a Waking Highway?
Yeah. I mean, that
I
was,
mean, there's no sidewalk there.
no,
That's frightening.
Well, I've never seen anybody even come close to getting hit there.
I don't even think we have a sidewalk at Shaw's.
Yes, there's a
Yeah.
sidewalk all.
Oh, along the front of it, like I have here, but I mean, there's no sidewalk.
So you can park and walk over to the sidewalk,
Without getting hit by somebody
and
driving
then
in.
walk over to the building instead of
Right, I hear what you're
entering
saying.
through that parking lot. Your
Right.
parking is,
Right, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. What I was referring to is that I can be 180 feet away from the entrance of a Shaw and a sidewalk, and have to walk all the way across that parking lot. I think it's the same thing at Walmart here in town, right? You can park a quarter mile away and you have to walk across the whole parking lot before you can get on a sidewalk.
and then in front of the building is a place where you can get relief. You have
Right.
cars coming and going through there.
Right.
All right, so third catch basin, you got that?
Oh, we're doing it? Is that,
I think,
well, because, you brought it up and then Catherine said she'd rather see the, a different plan.
I was just gonna say that, it seems that, yeah, I guess the same thing, like, if the contours are such that the 2 catch basins are capable of handling it all, a third catch basin may not.
make a difference.
It's all going to have to do with the grading.
Correct.
That's what it all has to do with.
And I guess what we need is a plan showing more detail.
Want more hours, that's fine.
So maybe, should we call it like a drainage diagram with arrows showing, arrows and contours showing
Or you could make a condition that all parking lot must drain towards the catch basins.
But you're,
I mean, that's standard anyway, though.
Right, well, it has to work that way, otherwise it's not gonna
So you don't
work.
really need to say it.
Well, the arrows, I mean, I can draw 100 arrows on these things.
it's not arrows, it's contour, it's grade. It's like, well, you already said, just above that existing culvert, it's gonna be raised up there.
It has to have a little bit of a razor, just
Well,
like we did.
That's not on here.
No, but it, you know, it wasn't on the one for the Raw Life Cafe, but that's just normal, that's what you have to do to contain the water,
This
you
thing
wouldn't.
is normal in site planning. And that cafe is a different site. Your elevation is much different on this site.
This is, I think this is probably the best site that I've had out of them all.
Well, this kid's got more room.
I know, thank God. I'm tired of dealing with a
So, the only place on here where I can see snow storage is the top corner on my print, you've got it there where you can't put any more parking.
Right, this is where I would, this is how it really works. And when you go in there and you drop your plow, you're gonna come in here, you're gonna start off, you're gonna get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, whenever the storm comes. You're gonna come in, you're gonna plow your snow, you're gonna push it all back up here as much as you can. When that doesn't work anymore, on this particular site, it will have to be removed.
Which is
Yeah,
like,
So we can put that as a condition.
If
Sure,
you've
I'm
only
happy
got-
with that.
if
It's-
you've only got that one
It's the
side.
only option, yeah.
Right, so I'll be happy.
I have a question, maybe it's just my wild imagination, but the left side of that, you have wetlands.
Correct.
You, by carving out a parking lot, you're disturbing the water table, so to speak, I think.
No, you're not on this particular site, I understand what you're saying.
So, what, like, if we have a wet spring, is that water gonna come down out of those wetlands and seep across
It's
the parking
impossible.
lot?
Did you go out and walk the site?
I didn't walk it, I just
Okay,
pulled
so-
into the parking lot and I looked.
No, oh, right,
and-
so this berm, this whole area here
Yeah,
is 1.5 to 2 feet higher or more than the parking lot. So it's no.
right, well, that's what I'm thinking, is that gonna get saturated with water, if the water table's high,
Yeah, I understand what you're
and
saying.
if the water
It
it's
doesn't.
gonna act like a sponge and all of a sudden it can only hold so much water.
Right, this particular site has a ton of gravel along the front.
Yeah,
So when this gets built up, because it's relatively flat in here and has a wetlands that comes through it, it tends to go drain out, and the drainage is much lower than this. I mean, the drainage down here, you know, it's much easier if you just walked it and you'd see that if we don't have any problems this time of year out there, it's very highly unlikely that we're ever gonna have an issue out there. And really what it comes down to is the type of soils that we have there. If you had like a Paxton soil or Ridgewood soil, or any of those soils that are not well drained, you would have an issue. This happens to be a really well drained soil. I mean, they're driving up there with cars, and everybody's up there with cars and dogs, and there's no sausage soil. If you had lousy soils, you'd have that issue, but if you had soils, you haven't got it. Thank God.
All right, so how many conditions do you have?
So I think you're coming back.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, with all of these unknown things, so you ready, Jeffrey? You
Well,
should
I-
list all these things as
I
conditions.
think
So,
if he submits the things that you're asking for a more detailed drawing showing the contours of land,
Yeah.
if he submits that, will he need to come back? I mean, I'm saying, I wouldn't think he would, as long as it's submitted.
I think that's,
I wanna see a
Work,
curve
because-
on the lower part of that
And
parking lot.
if, well, and we can have the curb on the lower, that doesn't mean he has to come back.
I'm
we have
not
that as a
sure that
condition.
those parking spaces are gonna work properly, and I don't like the little teeny patch of sidewalk. Now, that design has a nose on the front of the building, and if I'm looking at my print, and I add that nose, then that handicap parking space has got to move.
We did move it, and we showed it up here. We put the nose and we put the, back in here.
what's the numbers?
It got moved on this.
There's no nose, yeah, that's what I have in my hand,
Yeah,
but
right,
there's
this-
no nose on that building.
Right,
Go to the next page.
okay, that's true, so that's an overview of it.
So we have an inconsistency.
So we'll do it without a nose. We'll build it without a nose. If we wanted to do it, we'll come back. But right now,
What's this
we'll do it.
measurement between I have a line that's in the front of the building, it looks like it's to the edge of the parking lot on mine. And it's up there now. What is that measurement?
Not sure. Talking about these two here.
Look, right
This is 60 feet, so the building's 60 by 30.
from the edge of your handicap space, the corner,
Yeah,
over to the building, what's that distance?
I'm gonna say it's 18 feet, not 15 feet. I could measure it.
Drawing is good. Because this isn't. Hmm?
That's this.
It is.
1 inch equals 20 feet.
What else do you have, Catherine?
The percolation data.
From when you said you had that, you just haven't been able to
I just
find
wasn't
it.
able to find it because it was when this was first subdivided. It was 4 years ago.
You might have it.
Potentially. Yeah, I mean, again, I will say that, you know, without knowledge that that soil is extremely infiltrative, that I wouldn't be comfortable saying this is gonna handle the 50-year storm. With that information, it could be fine. I mean, I would even propose maybe a condition that would say, submit additional data to land use coordinator, including specific percolation rates necessary to verify that the system can handle a 50-year storm.
Unless you have the
Can
data.
No, I'd rather, I don't think we should go searching through our files, trying to find something that you have. Handle the, when I say handle the 50-year storm, can infiltrate the 50, infiltrate 100% of the 50-year storm. Because that's what's being proposed, so we need to make sure that that's.
Who did that for you initially, the perk test?
The surveyor,
Wouldn't he have that information?
he could, his files get lost like the rest of our files, so, you know, they get so big and you keep them thin, you should have it, but
I mean,
I can go ask him.
if I find some, obviously.
I'll look too, I didn't spend,
I may even get those files.
we might all have it. I don't have it at this time, that's all.
I don't think
You don't have where it is.
It's not a responsibility to find it.
No.
I kinda do what I thought a curb should go.
Okay,
Let's see.
Input?
you can't put a curb along the bottom of the foundation very well. You have it going along the bottom of the foundation. other than
Well, I
that,
know,
it's fine.
I know that, but I don't know where your building's really going, do I?
This is the building here.
Yeah.
Right, so if we put something on here, this is actually, I don't mind, I think it makes sense to put one along here.
There's nothing that absolutely requires you to put your building there.
Yeah. I understand, yes, okay.
But I think you could do it here.
I do, and I agree with that.
So if
I
your
have no
building
issue with
goes
that.
this way,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, curbing
I
to
just want to see
prevent
where.
water from going down.
All right.
Is that your green that,
I can.
So as we just discussed, wherever his building would be,
yeah,
the curb would be up against his foundation, so if you slid his building down further.
you want to read what we have so far?
Do we wanna do this, the parking dimensions, or would you be clear that up?
Well, I think we need to see those, okay?
Okay, so, parking dimensions, snow storage will be trucked off-site if necessary, drainage diagram, resubmitted plan with grading and contours of lot. I didn't know where we were as far as how we want, did you say grade in place?
Curbing, curbing.
Curbing was the next thing.
Yeah,
Let's
curbing.
go Lower curb and circulation data.
I wonder if we can say curbing on that other side, the southerly side of, southerly
Yeah.
side.
Anything else?
I would just ask that that condition that I read off be included if you're going forward with an approval. Yeah, I mean, submit additional data to the, I'm saying to land use coordinator, because I'd be happy to review it, and I'm here. Specific, let's see here, land use coordinator, data including specific, site-specific percolation rates to verify that the system can infiltrate 100% of the 50 years.
Full size parking space, so. Car,
When's our next meeting?
The 26th.
same size.
What I'd really like to, since we've got so much to hear and a lot of things that we don't know whether John can find or not find, continue it to our next meeting.
I'm not a problem
When's the next?
May 10th, Mother's Day.
Well, not Mother's Day, 12th.
Mother's Day's on a Sunday.
right?
Yeah, why does it say Mother's Day?
That's great.
Maybe that's the traditional actual day.
In,
Okay.
oh, M, where's M?
Eight.
In Mesopotamia.
Funny.
They have
It says M in
meetings
parentheses
and-
next to it.
Now, what I'd like to do is get everything that we are going to conceivably want, so that John has an opportunity to have all of this ready the next time he's here, so that we don't send him away again to continue something again.
I just had a question, and I don't know if it's the right question. But in the event of somewhere down the line that this, he sells one parcel, because right now he owns both parcels, right? But there's a light in the corner.
He actually owns 3 parcels.
Correct.
No, but what I'm talking about is the light, don't we have something about light spillage onto an adjacent piece of land? And there would have to be something in there, it's just a, where you're talking about putting a light on that corner. If somewhere down the line, 10 years, you sell that piece of land for whatever, 10 months down the road, you sell that piece of land, is that something that we would have to put in, something about that light?
I wouldn't think we would at this point, no.
But he did bring up a point, and I brought it up the last time. These 2 pieces of property are owned by you now,
Correct.
and they're sharing an ingress and egress to Route
Right.
311.
Right.
Neither property has that in their deeds.
Correct. And it wouldn't until you sell one. You wouldn't add to a deed now, I wouldn't think.
Yes, you would.
Before you, I'm gonna deed it to myself.
So that if you get hit by a bus tomorrow,
Yeah.
in your deeds, it reflects that that property and this property have ingress and egress in common for that entryway. If it's not in there and you get hit by the bus tomorrow, what happens? How do they ingress and egress?
Well, even if I get hit by the bus, the property has to be conveyed.
And
My
somebody may
wife-
not
my
choose to
wife
do
would-
that.
My wife would have to convey
Someone may
it.
not choose to do that.
Right, but that would-
That's something you do by choice,
Right.
so that should be in the deed.
Yeah, that's not,
That's not a planning board,
that's
though.
not our,
So you're going to, okay,
That happens.
if you don't think
If
so,
that-
I do.
If that was an issue, it should have been brought up as subdivision, not
I-
as time.
Well, why don't you try this?
I'll bring it up now.
Should have been brought up as subdivision, I don't feel like
Bring
it's.
it up now.
Yeah, you can bring it up, but I don't feel like that I should have to respond to it. If you wanted me to do that at the time when I subdivided, I would have been happy to. But this particular time, if you wanna reject it and throw this out for that reason, I'd be happy to.
I'm not throwing it out, I'm saying it could be a condition.
Isn't that's really a different area though, it's not really planning board.
You're cycling a piece of property that right now legally only owns half of that entryway.
I know, but we're not concerned with ownership.
You're concerned with ingress and egress to Route 3 11,
We're
right?
concerned with the lot.
That's right. That
But
lot,
not
in
like
order to get
who
onto Route
owns
3 and
that.
11, has to go on to the abutting lots
What,
property.
what bureau or whatever takes care of the deed, and that's a deed issue. It's like
I
not
think it's
us.
a lot issue, it's a property issue, and that's just me.
No,
I've
Is
seen
right
that
of way.
somewhere in our, in
No.
our,
Mhm.
For the right of way.
Yeah.
Would you deed a property?
Well, I think it's been done a lot, and then there's an easement granted by
Correct.
one
Yeah.
property owner to another.
Sometimes,
yes.
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's how it works though.
sometimes. And sometimes you have property owners arguing, and I can bring you to several pieces in the
Well, I
town
guess
of
if-
Tilton right now, where you have a piece of property, and there's a huge argument down off of River Road, because they're arguing over ingress and egress, and it's been going on for 10, 20 years now.
Well, I guess right
Because
now,
somebody
John,
didn't deed it, put it in the deed.
right now, John owns both pieces of property. And at the time of selling one piece of property, or for his heirs to sell one piece of property, the issue of easement, I would think, at that time would be dealt with.
Sounds logical to me.
That's what it would seem to me would be the way.
Otherwise, I'd have an
Well, it would
attorney
have to.
No, it doesn't have to.
We can't imagine all.
Well, I mean, I
Properties
wouldn't
in
buy the
Tilton right
property from
now.
him if I had no way to get on it, and that's when he'd say, well,
Exactly, yeah.
we can have an easement.
Right.
But that's just my own opinion about how do you have anything to add?
I think it's an appropriate concern, but I think your decision to, it seems like you guys are sort of thinking about not making that a major issue also seems very appropriate. You know, it could have a land use impact, if all of a sudden, one of the lots eventually, one day had to go and, build the second driveway because that driveway can't be shared. So I think it's, you know, again, a good thing to bring up, and I also, it's, you know, it really is in some ways a private matter, and
Yeah.
guys,
Would, I
I think
think,
you got bigger
more
issues,
appropriate to
right.
address it once it's sold to another.
It would have to be. There's
That
no
would-
bank would ever lend on it, nothing would ever happen on those sort of things without someone having an easement. Really what it does is just incurs an additional expense to me right now to go and have that drawn up by attorney and then go pay to have it recorded. I mean, it, you know, it's, to me, because I own both of them, and then when I sell one, then it would be an issue. I don't see how it's an issue right now because I own both.
Yeah, well, we'll make a motion to
Continue.
continue and in that, those issues to be addressed for the next. When's the next one, John, May?
I think it was May 10th.
I think that's the issue.
Okay. So you wanna read the conditions, so we'll have those on.
So we do,
Make the motion to continue it.
I make a motion to continue planning board 16-03 site plan review for 580 Laconia Road. So that we can address the following conditions in the next time we need.
Those conditions can be met.
So these conditions can be met. Parking dimension, snow storage, details, to get a drainage diagram, and to install a lower curb on the southerly side of the lot, and probably the park data, do you place that in there, or?
Yeah, the park data.
And to receive the percolation data from the surveyor about percolation rates to ensure that the system can handle the infiltration.
What is required in the books, 25-year storm figure?
Well,
Well, yeah.
What does the book say there? What's the state, the town regulations?
it's not quite that cut and dry. When you get down to the planning board, yeah, I'll be carefully, I know they're making a motion, in fact, I should ask the chairman, if she mind just interrupting the motion.
Okay.
I was looking for the last part.
We were looking for
Okay, so as far as that goes, my statement was submit additional data to the land use coordinator, including site-specific percolation rates to verify that the system can infiltrate 100% of the 50-year storm.
infiltrate 100%
100%
of the
of,
50 years.
of a 50-year storm.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And then, when you're done, I'll answer your question.
All right. Did everybody hear the motion? Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Not to mention cars.
Thank you. So I'm hoping that within good faith, I come back with all this data, and if all this data looks favorable, we can go forward and we'll have another one. Thank you.
Did you either have a nose on the building or not?
Whatever's next, yep, I'm gonna just sit here and breathe deep from it.
Okay. Well, I think it's shoddy.
I'll get to it.
All right, moving right along. Planning Board Case 16-04, Site Plan Review. Proposal to make necessary retrofits and operate an indoor children's play ground at 388 Laconia Road in Resort Commercial District. And I think there's an application.
Motion to accept planning board 16-04 site plan review as substantially complete.
Yeah. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Come on up.
We say, okay, great, have a wonderful evening, thank you for your time.
So they sort of accepted it for deliberation, so now you guys are performing.
So that's where what we need to discuss.
Tell us what you're gonna do.
So, no real significant changes to the existing structures. Starting off with the smaller building, which is the building, when you're looking at the lot to the left, used to be the retail facility. Looking to open that as our first, existing structure to put the indoor playground structures. Get that completely up and running, and then take the second facility, yes, yeah, the one to the left of the entry. So it's the more of the house, not the mooring building. The building to the right is the mooring facility, which we would hope to get, again, we would want to finish the interior of the building, as quickly as possible. How long that would be, I do not know.
Can we, have one meeting?
I'm sorry.
How long it would take that second facility to get up and running, I'm not sure of yet. To get the first building up and running. I think we have more interior modifications to do, and that being adding the restroom facility, and then getting our structures built and put inside the building.
So have any of you seen the place in Concord called Crazy Kids?
Been the ones where they have like bouncy houses or
Yeah,
whatever.
I've been
Yeah,
in
okay, so very
Chuck
similar.
E. Cheese type thing and McDonald's type thing, that's the only ones I've been in.
Similar, very similar.
Right, but they're like oversized, tubular structures with netting wrapped all around them, and you go all through the maze of the structure, and there's different obstacles within and everything, so it's pretty elaborate. The company comes and sets the whole thing up for you, so it's something you purchase as a whole, and they come set it up inside the building.
And then a bouncy house on the side. Looking, there are, interior wise, the only modification that we need to do is tear down a wall and install a bathroom, and then, just reassess the existing bathroom that's there so that they're, accessible.
How much space will it take up the whole building?
Yes.
Essentially, yes, yeah.
Are you planning on serving any kind of refreshments or
Vending machines only,
vending machines?
yeah. Yeah. 2 party rooms, they're existing rooms, so we're just gonna convert them into rooms with tables and chairs for a closed door, open gifts, birthday cake, and kids to go out and just run and have fun.
And you're planning to put parking in the rear?
It's actually, it's already existing,
In the rear?
yeah, it's
Yes.
already, clear. The property owners, Larry actually has some photos
Sure.
of the property. We've just cleaned out some brush.
Yeah.
We're not looking to add any impervious surfaces, so just kind of cleaning it up so
Are
that.
there wetlands there, back there?
There's a brook. It's been there since
Yeah.
the beginning of time. And I bought Dodge or.
I was a butter.
I'm Mrs. Butter, and I at the golf course. They intruded on me back in, when I built it. It didn't have a golf course or any of that, of course. But that's the next. Huh?
Catherine and Jerry
Yes.
have
So,
infringed
We're
on your
surrounded.
right?
yeah, well, they own plenty of property. But it's a natural brook. I got aerial.
There's a brook that comes down through there, and then on either side, there's an expanse of what you call wetlands. It pitches up, On where, on?
This is before oh, geez, you got a great picture from satellite. This is at 85, when I built the warehouse.
Yeah.
Here's the waterway. Here's a natural water basin, and the state runs both catch basins into this. This runs all the way to the highest point. Of course, there's no golf course there. And,
That's where the golf course is now, though, right?
yeah, right, yes, okay?
Yeah.
So you can see all this was already there for years. And what we did, and I wanted to please up the area, it hasn't been updated since it was built. I'm sorry, Mike, I can't get your internet, so I lost it. What I wanted to do was clean up. Oh, here we go. All we did was, okay, this is always there. Put a fresh layer on top of it. Okay? This is facing the golf course. You see it there? All right? And you can zoom in. Here's the golf course. And what we did is just clean this off. Okay? And, all right.
And either can.
We clean this off, and if you notice here, here's another picture. This grass right here goes all the way around the building. Okay. What I'm trying to focus is, what we're trying to do is please up the back area.
So you're cleaning it up, that's what you're...
Yes, that's all, and we can go.
So, maybe we don't.
That's pretty,
that's, well,
that's
I mean,
pretty much all it is.
Can't, you know, we've got...
I'm sorry I had a bigger nook, but I can't get your internet, so.
So, if I may ask a question of the applicants, when I went and visited the site recently, and we had discussion that some area that was vegetated and sloped would be cut into and turned into additional parking. Has that changed?
Yes, it's off the books.
Okay.
That's.
Because
something
it would take a retaining wall.
So what I saw when I visited, no thanks. What I saw when I visited the site, there will be no additional, if I went back once, say you did what you were planning on doing, if I went back, would I see any additional area stripped of vegetation at all? None?
From when you went?
Yeah, okay,
Well, one,
okay.
all right. This is all we've done, okay, here's the back of the property.
The trees,
It was these hanging
the
over trees.
parking area was already
That
all
we took
existing.
out.
The trees,
They're all
the
here.
brush that's there kind of leans over
And if you notice,
this area.
this grass,
We don't want that
goes all
debris
around the building.
falling off people's cars. We don't want the brush leaning
Right
out.
out to
So we clean the brush off the bank and it's
the
gonna be here.
new layer.
Potential parking
Ledge pad.
spots that already exist out there.
Then there,
Um,
the
We're not,
warehouse.
we're not adding.
Can we,
Yeah.
let's go on, well, we've got questions to ask, so we'll,
I was just showing.
but you can't really see, it's too small and it's sort of not appropriate at the moment.
Okay,
Okay?
sorry.
I just want to get this straight. You are going to use the back for parking.
We're only using back for parking after we get the second building up and running. I don't think we're gonna need the extra parking for the first building out front. I think we have plenty of parking to get the first building up and going. Parking's not gonna present a problem until we try to open the second building. There's already so much surface area out there that we have plenty of area to use.
Yes, sorry there.
So there's parking already there. Did you see that, Doris?
Yeah.
Parking was there.
In the front?
In the rear.
Well, what I saw when I went to visit, there was some landscape work being done, and I asked, has this area that's, stripped of vegetation, flat area, has this always been here? And I was told, yes, it's always been there, so,
And there's gravel there.
yeah. Or hard pack. Yes, right.
So when and if you do use additional parking in the back, can you go around that way?
No,
How do you get out?
between the buildings.
Yeah, really, you can go that way?
Oh, yeah, for years. There's no trailer there.
There's actually an existing
Oh, okay, I guess.
way around the building. These trees are here, they weren't there, so there's probably 4 or 5 parking spaces actually back there.
Yeah, so that picture's from 85, so those trees are way closer than what things actually are right now. Things are a lot further away from the building now, so that growth is closer in that picture than what it actually is right now.
Sure. Yeah. But just obviously,
If I look at this picture,
Yeah,
though,
that-
it looks flat, it's not flat.
This is the back of the warehouse taken in January.
This one?
okay.
That's the back of the warehouse. Look at that space. It's always been there.
You talk with conservation.
Well, my understanding is, the Conservation Commission is going to want to meet with the applicants. And I informed Heidi that, yeah, okay, excellent.
What's your capacity going to be? So you have building 1 that you're gonna open first. What's the capacity of that building? 188?
That's
not-
building 1.
That's based on the fire department's evaluation.
Now we come up with 76 up here.
And that's,
188.
that's his assessment without anything.
Without structures, that's
Without
the
anything in
empty
the building as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you put all of your stuff in there, what's the capacity of your
They'll
building?
come back.
Yeah, and that is also associated with the equipment that we buy, because the equipment is only
So we have
rated
to
for
use the
so
square
many people.
footage to determine parking.
It's probably all the safety.
Yeah.
So we're
Yes.
looking for structures that are under
Yes.
100 people, because we know we don't wanna put that many people in that building.
And then
That's
building 2.
building 1. Building 2, what's the capacity of that?
He didn't look at that. did he?
We didn't even have them go into building club, so we're just at that.
There's no point in going that far if it doesn't look in the first building, it's not gonna look decent.
But I couldn't see it short, I think he walked by.
Building
you
2
have-
needs, it has no insulation, it doesn't have the
It's just a storage building.
Yeah, right
So
now.
stored roads.
Yeah.
Got it. Where, so, going to building 1, there isn't a lot of parking for the square footage of these buildings. Do you have the capability of creating more parking for building number 2
Well, I was thinking
with the land that you have here?
that maybe if things work out, I would try to work out some kind of deal with the golf course where we could rent some of their parking lot. And I would build a nice path from A to B that connected the two.
Yeah, it's making some noise.
And if we could get, if we could rent 15 slots from them for X amount of dollars per month, then that would solve our parking problems for quite a long time.
Okay, so right now, for this site plan, we're looking at just building 1. So you could accommodate those people with the existing parking. Anybody do the formula?
What I discussed with Mr. and Ms. Pope is that the zoning ordinance doesn't obviously have a line for bouncy houses, so that the planning board would have to look at that chart, and there'd probably be some discussion about what an appropriate amount of parking would be. And we talked about, hearing back from Tim, but it sounds like you're not gonna do 188 people, so asking for 188, spaces.
Well, and those,
People try to-
they're little people too.
And they're little, right, they're not coming alone, so
They come with big
the
people.
car full
I know, it's
is
the big
3 to
people that
4
will
people.
park.
The big people have to drive them there.
So it's gonna be hard to come up with formulas, we haven't ever had.
Yeah, it is challenging. I
Yeah.
mean, because, right, Don't know.
How many kids do, how many,
Oh, the thing with it too is that there's a lot of changing throughout the day, so
Right,
there's only
right.
a couple hour spurts.
I mean,
So you-
average people stay 2 or 3 hours at a time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their kids come in, they run like crazy for a couple of hours, and they're like, all right, it's time to go.
Child volume.
We're really hoping that the parking is a problem, to be honest with you. Because having to deal with that would be wonderful. Having too many people coming in trying to park, I'll deal with that when the problem comes, you know, we'll figure something out, but we'll rent the snow dump and put a bridge across.
Jerry would love that. All right,
So mainly kind of.
okay, so now, I'm gonna turn to the planning board. Do you have any other comments or questions? It's something new, and I don't even know where to start in terms of questions, because I don't,
Your snow dump can't go where it is because of the wetlands. I got 1,150 square feet. That sounds right?
What's the snow?
For what?
75 times 44.
you've got your snow storage.
Right beside the wetlands.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, we cross the road to a
Right.
soda, right?
Right.
I mean, you have to put it in a truck and carry it across.
But we have the
We have the
capabilities.
capacity to do that.
I have 33.
I've already tried pushing it though.
We have it.
And I have a problem.
I have 3,300 feet.
Yeah.
3,300 feet.
3,300 feet.
3,300. I knew that was too little. Times, so,
What do you guys measure?
44 times 75.
For what? What do you?
Square footage of building unit.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna play with some formulas here. So if we don't have snow storage there, does that mean there's no other alternative on the property?
Well, actually, there is a pretty good buffer between the parking spaces where the handicap spots are. In between that and the hill, there's a lot of area there, and there's a lot of area out back.
Yeah. The bucket loader will take care of it.
And we have equipment,
So
so.
definitely need to eliminate this one.
Yeah,
Eliminate
I
that.
never done
Yeah,
that.
eliminate the snow dump.
Do you understand why we're doing that? You have the brook and you've got,
Yes.
Sure.
definitely.
But at the same time, the state dumps the road in it. But it has salt and what have you. I just, they've got 2 catch basins that go directly into it.
Lighting,
Lighting, there's existing lighting all over the place,
you're not going to change that?
you know,
well, where is it?
on on the picture. Yeah. Right.
You're not gonna
It's
change?
near both, it's right above both entrances of units as well, on lower level.
Yeah, you can see.
If you're utilizing these parking spaces, will this be open at night, in the evening when it's dark? Like in the winter, it gets dark at 4:30, so
Yeah, probably
like 6
So-
o'clock is.
there isn't adequate lighting for these spaces.
I think there's lights on the building out
There's
back
lights,
as well.
there's a light here.
Yeah,
So what do we need to,
there are lights mounted on the back of that building.
there are.
Right,
on-
but
Oh.
it's not, you know,
Projecting
it's
light.
downcast, so you're not gonna have adequate lighting to get people safely.
So, yeah, adding some more.
Just drive
lighting.
into the high school and night, you'll
Yeah,
see what I mean.
yeah. Well, it's easy to put lights. On the corner of the warehouse would take care of
Well,
both
you
areas.
probably get some solar,
Yeah.
Yeah, from panels.
That's a great idea.
something
yes.
here, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you need,
Absolutely.
You're gonna use the existing sign?
Yes. Well, we're gonna change it from 4 shows.
Well,
now right now you've got parking spaces in the front of this building where the entryway is, and I don't remember that.
There's actually a load dock all in front of that building.
That's
So-
right.
Not all.
So to get into it, you come in from the side?
Yeah, you go in from.
Yes.
Yes.
What's your
What's the
direction?
difference?
I'm sorry. Your direction of traffic through your parking lot. I mean, you've got an arrow in. Are you
Yes.
doing this? So you're gonna have a car drive. It is tight between the buildings. You can get a vehicle through, you move your trucks through.
Easily.
But if you've got pedestrians also accessing
Marked walk path.
that access that way.
Yeah, we definitely will have a mark, so that's like a one-way.
Yeah, it's definitely not too much traffic.
Initially, you're just gonna add one bathroom,
Yeah, there's an existing restroom in the facility.
and you're gonna add one.
Yes.
And your septic will accommodate the addition of
Yeah.
that?
It's already built also. The pumping system, well system is all new.
And you are, when is your appointment at conservation?
Next Monday. Here.
Third Monday.
Any other questions?
I'm still concerned about parking. Just looking at this picture, trying to fit pictures and counting spaces on what they're gonna need. And having some experience in the town of Tilton with a facility that can accommodate more people. And I just, I'm concerned about that. It's a good, I mean, it's a catch-22, it's a great thing, but I just don't know if it's gonna have the adequate parking, especially if you, I mean, trying to figure out the formula to follow.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm having trouble trying to figure out whether it's adequate or not, because I don't, I would guess that probably people bring several children in one car, you don't just bring one child, you know?
Right.
It's not,
Well, the car seats, a lot of times they come one-to-one, parent, child, car, baby siblings, but then you don't, like, if you two are
I just
coming
don't know.
together, you guys most likely, unless your kids are a little older, depending where the kids are with the infant seats and stuff like that, they tend to come in separate cars.
If you use the formula for other commercial uses, or even retail stores and shops, you know, I came up with 11, I didn't even count the handicap. So they've got enough parking in the front for building one. I think we'd have to make a condition that they'd have to come back in, go update the site plan for building two, because I think that's where you're gonna have an
Yeah.
issue. That's where the issue of parking is gonna come into play, is building two, I think.
and I agree, I think that that's,
Right now, unless you're gonna put like off the other way. I'm concerned about lights, as I said before.
Right out.
And it's interesting to use that slope from building one down to the corner towards the wetland through your asphalt parking.
Well, that's how it is already.
I know, but there's no drainage in that parking lot. The building's been there for years, so now you're back here for a site plan review. And what can we do to prevent sheet runoff from,
But there's a drain on the corner of that building that collects all the water off both of those buildings.
off the buildings, so what about the parking lot?
They all go runs here.
Yeah, into,
Well, it's supposed to go.
Well, we don't allow that anymore.
Well, it's there. Been there for 35
And
years.
now it's back for a site plan review,
Oh.
so
You go by different rules.
here we are.
Existing conditions don't matter. Huh? Oh, I didn't know that.
So what can we do?
Well, what would you expect?
What are they doing right across the brook from us?
You mean in my lot?
Yes.
That's, there's no asphalt there. It's all gravel, it's all, there's no sheet runoff. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, there's concrete all over the place. It's like there's pieces in the brook,
It's everywhere.
There's chunks of concrete. I'm talking about storm drain management.
but that's all runoff running into the brook too.
Runoff from what? There's no asphalt there.
It's still,
What, let me ask you.
We have asphalt so the water doesn't percolate into the asphalt.
I'm saying that there's concrete contaminating the wetlands, not water. There's concrete that's falling down into the brook.
Okay?
I would be more concerned about the concrete going into
Right now,
wetlands
I'm
than the water
concerned about
off
the
the
site
parking
plan
system.
that's in front of me.
But that's not, we're not changing anything that's not already there. We're not changing the slope is existing. We're not adding any asphalt, the asphalt is existing. We're
Okay.
not adding any impervious surface to the back of the structure or in front of the
Okay.
structure which is already existing.
Mhm.
So really, we're just saying, pretty much what we're saying is, we wanna establish a new business in a vacant facility that is already existing, that has been existing for 2 decades.
It's been empty too
We're
long.
not changing
It's a
the snow
change of use.
removal, it's
Change
just
of
a change
use.
The owners have had several
That's
opportunities
all
to
it
do
is.
stuff with the building.
If that building continued on as it was, without a change of use, it was in a grandfathered or non-conforming condition. Here we are with a site plan with a change of use.
But it's still.
It is no
resort-
longer a non-conforming lot because you're changing the use. So,
From parking lot to parking lot?
How are we ever gonna get a business in this location?
Well, I think it's important to recognize what the regulations do say, and that's that you need to not increase the amount of runoff that's coming off your site.
And how are we, how?
Right, right, no, you may not be, so we don't, you know, there's, she's not asking for unlimited, you know, for massive changes here.
And that's why
Just
you're going to the
sure.
conservation commission. See some of those things.
Correct.
I mean, that's why I said, so how do I, curbing, I mean, what can we put there to prevent there another?
So is there something that you're suggesting? Yes. Yeah, I.
Well, kind of throw it
What
out
are you
there
alluding
to
to?
engage in a
Like, what is
conversation.
your next
You
point?
could put, it's asphalt, so you could put an asphalt curb
What does
There
the
is-
conservation
because why?
department recommend in a
to
situation like
keep the
this?
storm runoff from sheeting into the brook and
storm-
wetlands.
Yeah, but the
So I need to
state
understand though,
doesn't.
I need
What do you-
clarification to help me understand what we're suggesting is going to change the storm runoff, the existing storm runoff. What are we suggesting that is going to increase the storm runoff from what is existing already? Tell me why what you're suggesting and what you're suggesting we are changing that is going to increase that, so that I
You
understand.
may not be
Because-
changing anything.
But you're suggesting that we need to incur more expense to alleviate some pressure that we are introducing, that we are going to present because of our change in use of the structure. And as a business, as a proprietor, as a potential business owner, I need to understand the ramifications of what I'm saying I want to do, that the town is saying is going to incur additional runoff to the facility that we're looking to lease.
I don't know how to explain it.
Can I make an analogy maybe?
Can you?
Sure.
Yeah, love it.
So what she's saying is, remember penny fuses in electrical boxes in your house?
I'm not old enough.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, that's okay. So this lot has penny fuses that run off. Over time, they changed the building code. Now you have to put in fuses that switch on and off. Okay, that's what she's trying to say, that you may have to do to this lot, so that the water doesn't directly, that it could be that you have to put in a catch basin in that corner with an oil water separator type thing, and so that the vehicle runoff from that, I don't know if that's a bad analogy, but I'm trying
No,
to.
I think it's a good analogy. Do you understand what he's?
I do.
Yeah.
Kind of. I get the smidge of what you're saying, but in
Right.
the scope of what we're saying, we're changing the existing facility to.
You're trying to catch up this, you're trying to catch this lot up. So it's sad, if you were gonna put another rug store in there, probably wouldn't have to do it.
You wouldn't even be here.
You wouldn't be here, because you're going from Macintosh apple to Macintosh apple. Well, now you're going from Macintosh apple to bananas. And
I'd say we're still in that.
It's a change of use.
It's a change of use.
It's plain and simple, it's a change of use.
It is.
When this business was created, the rug store, we didn't talk about storm water management, we didn't talk about downcast lighting, we didn't have a
Did
lot
you
of
talk
things.
about that when the golf course went into place? Did you talk about that when Dawson's Concrete decided to put their?
Dawson's Concrete, listen, don't even go there, because
I'm just,
I am
it's just a question. It's
sixth
just a
generation
question.
on that property, so what you see has been there, is dated pre-zoning. Okay?
Yeah,
So,
let's-
it's a grandfathered situation.
In both
You have
instances.
come
In
in
both
here,
instances.
We'll talk to the,
You've
we'll
committed-
talk to the conservation department though, that's all we need to do.
Can we,
the Conservation
Let's-
Commission is an advisory board.
let's get back to what we're
We are not.
dealing with. If you buy a new house, it may not be a new house, it might be an old house. You're gonna have to meet the current code. And that house is not gonna be sold.
Gonna be built.
Do you understand that? Well, that's basically the same thing with a piece of property. And somebody said things change over time. And that's why we're saying we need to look at what kind of pollution. I mean, we have pollution all over because in the past, no one cared. Not because they didn't care about future generations, they didn't realize that what they were doing was in any way dangerous or could affect or impact the environment. Today, we know that things can. You're right on a brook. You understood why you can't have snow storage right beside the brook. And what we're saying is that you might need to look at the runoff, whether it's the rug store or any other new business. Is that runoff causing problems for the environment? Do you understand now why we're questioning it? Okay.
But I don't understand why another rug store would be okay to be there.
Because it wouldn't even have
It's
to
not a
come
change
in.
of use.
It's not a change of use.
But the,
A site plan only takes
But
place.
but the number
If
of
there's a
people
change of
visiting the
use.
facility would still be increasing. Like you're adding an improved business, whether it's a rug store or it's a vegan restaurant down the road or it's a children's facility, you would still be increasing the traffic and the use of the property by improving the property in today's day and age and in this area and in the industries that are being proposed to be representing the area of Tilton, New Hampshire.
You might be improving the area while you're polluting the soil.
Let's just,
Okay.
My point is,
because what we want is, we don't want.
we're not adding 50 parking spots.
Can we have one meeting, please? You're out of order, okay?
I'm sorry.
Please.
I called them up here.
Okay. Well,
It's the
let's-
argument's getting redundant. The
Yes,
plain
it
and
is.
simple fact is, this property was developed before most of our zoning laws. It comes into the future, because it existed, as a grandfathered or non-conforming property. You're suggesting a change of use. It's no longer gonna be a rug store. Because it's a change of use. You don't get to keep those grandfathered or non-conforming conditions. You now have to comply with today's zoning. In today's zoning, we manage storm runoff. So it doesn't go into big brooks, it doesn't go onto people's property, and it doesn't go into the state's right of way.
How is it fair for Dawson Concrete to move in on that corner?
This is not about Dawson Concrete.
Dawson's Concrete has
only
been there.
Point of order.
No, he asked a question.
what I
All right.
asked,
But
no,
you got
what do you,
two
Chairman,
different conversations.
let
what
the
is the
chairman speak.
solution? That's what
Well,
I'm,
that's
the
what I'm
chairman
trying to
speak.
find out. I'm not sure why this has gotten to where it has. And I'm gonna continue to speak, Chairman, because I'm gonna continue to speak. Why has this gotten this way?
No, Catherine,
It's a simple
we need
question.
to, we need to,
No, it's
we
a
need-
simple question. We haven't even determined what's there already. Is there an asphalt curb? Does it show one? Larry's saying yes, there is. So now
okay,
this whole
then
conversation is
then it's
redundant.
appropriate, but Dawson Concrete doesn't have anything to do with
yes,
what we're
true,
talking
true.
about.
I don't even know why it was
Period.
brought
So
up.
I don't wanna hear that anymore. That is
You're making
totally
good neighbors.
inappropriate and out of order, okay?
So Larry,
Yeah.
please tell us,
Sure.
in this corner where we see the line going right down towards the culvert in the brook, right here at this edge,
Correct.
is there anything that stops or diverts sheet runoff from this park? Is there an
Well,
asphalt
water,
curb?
yes, but water runs with gravity and sloping,
There's a big
and
berm.
where's it supposed to go?
Well, in today's world, we
Okay.
try to manage stormwater runoff
All right,
from
so-
parking lots.
All right.
So if you're telling us there's an asphalt curb
Yes,
here
there is.
already,
It just goes
and
to the
is
corner.
there is this area burned?
Yes, it
So
is.
because,
It's, all this is burned this high. At least that high. All,
With asphalt or with ground?
no, it's ground, and then this asphalt in front of it, on inside of the parking lot.
There's a berm of dirt in front of the entire property.
One thing, I think all of our ordinances and zoning and so on and so forth, say we can't increase runoff. Is that not correct? Isn't that?
I mean, I
not
think
right?
that's the overarching rule. There are nuances, but yes.
I'd just like to mention, this is something that he did work together with on the state to develop when he improved that parking lot.
DOT, I mean, we're like buddies. I mean, I helped them and they've helped me over the years, you know. Like I said, the water's gonna run from gravity. And it's gonna run, all that land runs to that brook. Even the state uses it.
Right.
So what do you
Look,
propose?
we're not saying
Oh.
that, but we're saying there are situations where you've got many cars on a lot. For instance, I think Mr. Bernard, who was in here earlier, who's still with us, has car lots. He
Yes,
knows
I know.
well that cars distribute gasoline, they distribute antifreeze, oil leaks. If you have a lot of parking in an area, and all of that takes place, when it rains, that's gonna go somewhere, and we don't want it to go in the brook. It's just like years and years ago, it was okay for the leather tanneries, okay, to dump all of their acid into the creeks. That's why we have some polluted areas around here.
Yeah, but,
We've learned a lot and we don't allow that anymore.
yeah, but where's the water supposed to go?
It-
Is there a
it-
solution?
It can go into a catch basin,
And go where from there?
and it can be drained through various filters,
All right.
okay?
See, I don't know.
All
I'm
right,
not-
so, that's all we're saying. If you're going to increase the parking, and obviously a playhouse for children, whether the children come with, you're not gonna have 20 kids come in one car. You're gonna have more cars than you probably have at this floor show in any given time. As a result of that, you're gonna have more waste
I
on the
understand.
parking lot.
What I'm saying is, everything runs to a funnel in this parking lot, okay? Which I worked with the state
Into a
at the
culvert,
time.
right? It goes into a culvert.
No, it's just funneled and absorbed.
In the soil?
Yeah. It goes into this grass area,
Okay.
all right? And it is absorbed, and then here's the brook, okay? I don't know, is the solution new technology where all this the water goes into something and is filtered out? I don't know. With time, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why when you go to conservation, they may bring up some suggestions for what to do. Might be a curbing, it might be a oil.
I already got curbing.
So the curbing
Well,
is here,
okay.
to clarify?
Yeah.
What's here?
No.
Curbing.
Oh, there's no curbing there.
Oh, okay, there is no
Where
curbing.
is it?
And that ain't paved, all the way around.
Oh, okay, so the curb, you got a curb
There,
in here,
and there's a little spot here
okay.
that this is funneled up with, and there's a curb.
And there's- Okay, well, the water flows this way, so.
Oh, it's natural.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to clarify.
Yeah, right,
And
and
then
it-
this is gravel, okay.
And it ends up here, and,
So really, this is the point we need to, if there's going to be a concern, it's where the water is.
Down in this where the book.
Right, it's this way, but I mean, if you were all,
yeah, well, that's where it ends up.
That's where it is.
Everything,
So-
because I had it curved. When I put the burn in, if you notice the picture, I had the biggest turnaround. I could have charged money for the turnaround here when it was originally built. See this? But I started getting fed up with tractor trailers, taking this whole side up, okay? And just take off, right? So I went with the state, and they're great people, and we designed to take this and put it all across here, put it all across here, and over here. We took the sign down. Doesn't matter. And we got rid of the sign, and we put up a new electronic sign with a 4x8 lidded sign, which has a spotlight right there, high density, to be honest with you. I haven't had it on because I haven't. And lighting here, 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 here. There's already lighting here. So,
yeah,
this
this
is,
is the only,
yeah, but okay. So it's just a natural flow.
right.
And I guess the state has a culvert here that runs all the way to the brook. And another, the whole, that's the center of the valley. You go over one hill, the golf course, and you go over Dodge Hill, and everything on either side of that flows that way.
Okay, I
All
think
right.
we're getting,
Yeah,
you
stay
know,
out.
we're going through the same thing over and over and over again, and we're getting nowhere, so I'm gonna reel it in. You're going to the Conservation Commission. I'm sure they will have quite a bit to say. Right now, we need to see some way, or at least I feel, does everybody else feel we need to see some way of treating the runoff? Other than just having it go directly?
It shouldn't go directly into the brook. I don't know about treating it. There are less expensive things like, you know, having it, if there's a curb there. You know, unless you have a
well, here,
50-year storm event, it's not gonna come over the curb, it's gonna just, you know, evaporate in its
Yeah.
face. I don't know if,
see, everything flows to that corner. Now,
so,
if you block
We know
that,
that.
if you use the landscaping,
Well, I was gonna say, if they put much more,
you know, run the
Landscaping, yeah.
landscaping out,
Right here on this corner.
Yeah.
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 you brought up the snow storage across the street. When they came here, we had them, their berms, if
Oh,
you notice over there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's because they came here and it was to prevent the runoff.
yeah, okay, so it catches
Okay.
everything in that
Yeah.
hole. Yeah.
So somehow, before it gets to the brook, it has something more natural to,
Yeah,
It can
Yeah.
leach through this earth and kind of clean itself before it gets into the.
exactly,
now you're cooking.
exactly.
So, that's why I said, I mean, I'm not here to cause you more money and solve the problem, but it's just that simple.
That's perfect.
What can you do to keep that water from going directly into the brook?
Yep.
And you can use natural soil, berm,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
alleviate
Rocks,
that.
gravel,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Perfect.
didn't
Oh.
know.
I mean, you've already, Larry said
well,
it's
it's
already.
already a funnel,
Right.
so that's good.
Now you're just looking at,
You know,
You can even put things underneath your parking lot, so if you wanna build on top of it, you wanna pave on top of it, you can do what I do, you put these infiltration systems that go underneath the parking lot, you pave over, you get all that parking. if you do what they're suggesting, you're gonna use up some of your parking space, but, you can also do that. I'm not really here in any capacity other than an advisor. Thank you very much.
And we actually have samples of some of what John uses, I believe, in Dari's office.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
That would be good.
Yeah, you don't want to.
No, I mean,
I think you can solve your problem because it's.
just with plantings and things of that nature.
Landscaping.
Yeah, there already is something there to add to.
Language is in concrete below.
Well, you can get that done.
I like your.
You can get that out of the brook, Catherine.
I have, 4 things on my list.
Okay.
The second building may need additional parking, update site plan as well.
Yeah.
So, storm runoff from parking lot cannot run into the brook, however they chose to do that. No storage into wetlands, and lighting to the back spaces.
The backs, okay, yep, yep.
The only thing I would think, can we even talk about the parking as long as it's just building 1? Isn't there adequate parking for building 1?
Well, as I said, unless they're gonna block off access to those back parking spaces, yeah, really, you don't have to worry about the lighting.
Yeah.
We wanna do lighting anyways for added security.
Yeah.
So,
Catherine, should you read your list off again?
No.
I can just hand it to
But the parking is,
you. I just want them
And
to
then
know.
if they go to use the next building, they have to
Update the site plan, lighting for the back spaces.
Curvy.
raining.
Where's the photocopy here?
Yeah.
And
Actually,
if and when you go to the second building, you'll need to come back for a revision.
That's what the top one is saying.
Okay, oh, okay.
And I don't know if anybody else has.
Parking spaces that they need to have.
We don't know.
And, you know, like I said, if you use the H and I, they have enough in the front. Like I said, I think they have enough spaces, even if they use one in the back, they probably have more than enough for building 1.
And what do you think,
Building
so,
2, maybe, you know, they may have to.
so if we talk about building 2 and things that we need to kind of keep in mind,
Just so you know, when you're moving along, now you want to develop building 2, what you can kind of expect from us.
and then
We're
what,
gonna be looking for
and what,
adequate parking.
and what we were talking about with, the golf course potential.
Whatever you need to do.
Yeah,
And what do you, so in that being said, what are your thoughts on a walk path from their parking lot to our parking lot? What are some things that you guys are gonna be particular about when we come back to discuss that we need to have in our thought
That you
process
can
now?
discuss with Dari, actually,
Okay.
when you get closer to that point. He can advise you on things you might need
Okay,
to.
perfect.
You know, we shouldn't do it here, because
no.
Yeah,
And the other thing is that after you go to the Conservation Commission, there may be things that you come away with too.
Okay.
And they will communicate with us.
Okay.
But that should be in the conditions that they have to go to the Conservation
Oh, are you guys?
as planned.
You continue.
I think we're approving it.
Oh,
aren't we?
okay.
I thought we were continuing until after the conservation looked at it.
Well, we can't do anything till after Conservation looks at it, because we are sending it there. That's
Well, we
part of
have
the
to
condition,
continue.
Oh,
so.
So then we come back on the next.
2 weeks from tonight, if that's.
No, I was saying,
Yes,
in the future, if they want to increase parking in the rear, like Jerry has at the golf course, it's take the bank out and build a retaining structure all in the back. And as you can see in the pictures, especially these ones I have, there's a lot of them.
Whatever gives them more parking.
Right.
and there may already be enough back there behind the warehouse and all too.
It all depends on the capacity
Yeah.
once you get,
Yeah, we have more than enough to get going, for sure.
Okay,
I think you do.
so what's the next date?
April 26th.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue to April 26th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, we'll see you then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
If you have inflatables, they must be inspected by the proponents $20 a piece. Every year. Yeah. And I just got inspected.
So they have
We have a bounce house. No, we don't at the sports center, we have a bounce house, we pull out for. Yeah. So, never do it, it shows up. They have to inspect, so let's say you have 3 of them, they'll come in and check, make sure the space is there, they have to be even if they're yours.
All right, moving right along.
This one was awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. They did me a favor. He was always finding my dog.
He's finding your dog, yeah.
He's finding the dog.
Yeah.
Man.
We have a great relationship.
We have,
You know what we did? We used.
Sir, we've got our meeting to go through.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me? Okay, the next thing is to review the March 22nd, 2016 minutes. Everybody have a chance to read them? Motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept the meeting.
Second?
March 22nd.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Next thing is correspondence. Did everybody get a copy of the Conservation Commission revised checklist? All right, I have copies. Just read these, and what Dari will do is, if it's appropriate to give these out, he will give them out, and if not, okay? So just look over this and be familiar with it, because if it's appropriate to give these to applicants, we'll be giving these to applicants in the future. The next thing, I don't know, we have some new people that may not have this. This is just a list of things we did a few years ago on projects not subject to site plan reviews. Just, again, put that in your folders. If you don't have, I think that people may not have copies. You have lots of these?
Different purposes or different, yeah, they're different.
Okay.
I think I have this one, I have some. Do we know what year this came from?
This is just, if it weren't for that office rearranging, that would not have been.
Probably, I'm guessing, Catherine, maybe 3 years ago we did it. If that, maybe less than that, maybe 2 years ago. The other thing, Business Park Drive and Route 132 water main extension. You might want to take a look at this. It will be in Dari's office. Catherine, have you seen this? I suggest you might want to take a look.
anything.
Crossing over the town roads, right?
Probably should, I don't think so, it's to Route 132. Something we've looked for. And the only other thing, the OEP Spring Planning and Zoning Conference will be held June 4th, 2016, at the courtyard for the Marriott at the Caponi Conference Center in Concord. Anybody who's interested in going, I want to go. Okay, please let Dari know. Would you just send us, email this to all of us?
Mhm.
And then I guess the easiest thing to do is to call Dari and let him know if you're interested. And then Joyce will sign us up.
Yeah, all right, well, yeah, we'll get you signed up, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Joyce writes the check, that's why I always give it to her. Okay, does anybody have anything else?
I'm sorry, I was, did you hand out the Concom materials?
I did,
Okay. Sorry about that.
okay. And I said you would make the determination as to whether it should be given to the
Okay, yeah.
client
And
or
then
not.
the mill, there's two forms there, sorry. There's two forms there, there's the one that they like submitted to planning, site plan review, planning board applicants who are gonna go on to Concom. The other is the milfoil application. If you know of people who want to apply for funds for milfoil removal, that's the form that's to be used, and please, and, you know, feel free to put those people in touch with the Concom.
Moss on the water?
Yeah, it's more,
So who would?
if it were just moss on the water, it would be one thing, it goes down for miles and miles and miles and
Let's
miles.
call it.
Go out to Silver Lake, go out to see Joe, and he'll show you.
Yeah, you come to my house, I'll show you milfoil.
1992.
Oh, is it?
Rules of procedure for the conduct of business of the planning board of the town of Tilton, adopted by the Tilton Planning Board August 17, 92.
We, that's,
Amended in 99, 2000, 2001.
The rules of procedure?
Rules of procedure for the conduct of business of the planning board of the town of Tilton.
I sent those out like when I first started.
Oh, was that the one where we said we had to address people formal?
No.
no, I thought it was something that Sandy came up with.
Forum, oh, the other one, chair hearing.
Yeah.
By making a motion to
Second.
adjourn?
This one we don't follow it very.
Second to adjourn. Anyone? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Go your way and sin no more.
Well, that's one.
Well, that was.
When are they starting this project?
All right, Dari, this you get back, this you get back.
Oh,
Good job, Bernard.
just take out the batter, no.
Good job, Bernard.